So, is it true? Was Big Boss really your father?
That's what he said. That's all I know.
And you were able to kill him?
He wanted it. Besides, some people just need killing.
Ever since the day I killed the boss with my own hands, I was already dead. If you'd been in my place back then, maybe you wouldn't have made the same mistakes that I did.
The Metal Gear Solid series was a significant part of my life while I was growing up. Each game came at a different point in time for me, and because of that, I found every game special in its own way. I played the first Metal Gear Solid game at a young age, and before that, I wasn't into gaming as much as I am today. That's why most of the games I played were either shooters, racing games, and sometimes platformers. So it was a big deal when I first picked up the first Metal Gear Solid. I went in expecting over-the-top action and cool boss fights, but I came out pleasantly surprised with what I experienced.
Snake! What was she fighting for? What am I fighting for? What are you fighting for?
This game changed my view to games and storytelling and opened my eyes to what can be possible with video games as a form of entertainment. I enjoyed it so much that Solid Snake had become one of my favorite protagonists along with Max Payne and Agent 47. Then there was Sons of Liberty, and I'm going to be honest with you, when I first played it, I didn't understand at all the social commentary about the digital age and the control of information, as I was still a dumb kid.
Who are you? To begin with, we're not what you'd call human. Over the past 200 years, a kind of consciousness formed layer by layer in the crucible of the White House. But in the current digitized world, Trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible. Right? You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
Create context.
But I still enjoyed the game very much, and once I got used to Raiden being around, I even began to like him too. But by far the most memorable thing about Sons of Liberty for me was the 4 sword breaks at the end of the game.
Raiden, turn the game console off right now.
What did you say?
The mission is a failure. Cut the power right now.
What's wrong with you?
Don't worry, it's a game. It's a game just like usual.
You'll ruin your eyes playing so close to the TV.
What are you talking about?
Raiden, something happened to me last Thursday when I was driving.
I mean, they shook me to the core and terrified me in a way no other game had done before, except maybe for Silent Hill The Room, but that is a topic for another time. After that, I played Snake Eater, and if I spent the whole day telling you how much I enjoyed this game, it wouldn't be enough. I mean, the story was fantastic and probably the best written one in the series. The gameplay was also improved, bringing new features to fit the new setting like the camouflage system and hunting animals for food with the excellent level design the series has been known for. It was just an all-around amazing game that I'm grateful I was lucky enough to play. After that, I played Guns of the Patriots, and for all of its flaws, this game really knew how to play with my emotions. I know I can only speak for myself, but the whole concept of playing as your childhood hero in his prime, then having to see him getting old, struggling to keep on going, all during a desperate attempt to save the world from the brink of destruction, it was really impactful for me, and all of this reached its highest point at the end when I got to see Solid Snake reach the end of his story. And I'm not ashamed to say that I cried hysterically at this scene. And finally, I played The Phantom Pain, a game I spent a long time not knowing what to make of it. If you were a fan around the time before the release of Metal Gear Solid 5, when all the promotional trailers were released, you probably thought, as most people did, that The Phantom Pain is going to have you finally play as Big Boss being the villain. We were to finally see how exactly did Big Boss become the man that he was in Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2, but now you probably know that that wasn't really the case. In MGS5 you don't play as Big Boss, you play as Venom Snake, the medic that almost died along with Big Boss during the MSF attack, only to be resurrected to play a role that would change his life drastically. You first sit in the shoes of the medic when he first wakes up in the hospital, which effectively entailed the birth of Venom Snake, with you, the player, being there from the start. It is not unlike when you first play Assassin's Creed 2 and experience the birth of Ezio Auditore, as an obvious way to deepen the connection between you and the main character. But it's different in The Phantom Pain because you don't know who you truly are at this point. Just like the medic, all you know and believe is that you're a Big Boss and the whole world wants you dead. And for my first playthrough, I thought that the point of all of this was just to acknowledge you, the player, and the role you played in the series. And I found that ending to be really unfulfilling. But after thinking about it and processing all of what I experienced in my head, I found out that that wasn't really the case. The point of MGS5 was not to acknowledge your role as a player or to have you commit the villainous acts of Big Boss as the trailers implied, but it was to make you jeopardized directly by the man himself as Venom Snake. Venom Snake loses his individuality and his life to further the goals of someone else. He is put into the front lines in a never-ending battle just to stir away attention. He is haunted by revenge, facing Scarface, and when he finally gets his revenge, he and his soldiers loses the only purpose they had until this point. And you yourself get the feeling, even when you kill the bad guy, you didn't really win. And for some time all remains the same, with you checking off main mission after main mission until you reach mission 43, shining lights, even in death.
What is this?
No idea.
An outbreak occurs as a result of Huey Emmerich mutating both the parasite and the Wolbachio's radiation. This leads to one of the most shocking and depressing sequences in gaming for me. You as Venom Snake have to kill every infected soldier in the quarantine base to stop the outbreak from spreading out to the world. Some of these soldiers you may recognize yourself, as the game uses soldiers from the staff you recruited with the same names and models. You go in with them expecting you to save them from the pain and suffering. Only for you to put a bullet in their head.
Shooting your own men. That's not the big boss I knew.
And if all this wasn't enough, there is this room, and I will just let this scene play out. This without a doubt weighed heavily on Venom Snake. He remained reluctant to kill his soldiers to the last moment, and you can see that when he shoots one of the soldiers who's trying to get out in the leg first. You can also see him turning his face away during all of this. But even then, what Venom did to his soldiers, he done unwillingly, and you could see how much this affected him later.
It's your fault! They're dead because of you!
What? He's right. I killed him with my own hands.
Compare that with the way Big Boss casually made a soldier his double and put people in the line of fire in the hospital so he can escape, and with all that claim that he's building a nation where no soldier is taken advantage of. Or you can even compare the Big Boss of the Phantom Pain with the Big Boss of Portable Ops, and you'll still get what I mean.
Look out!
What are you doing? Those weapons won't do any good. Get out of here before you're caught up in the blast and killed.
You risked your life to save our motherland.
Now it's our turn to defend your country.
You've given us a real reason to fight, Big Boss.
All right.
Venom Snake's suffering and losses do not end here. Quiet, the silent sniper that becomes an ally if you choose to spare her, is implied to have feelings for Venom on more than one occasion, and Venom seemed to share these feelings. Quiet had the English strain of the vocal cord parasite, and this may be the reason why she let herself get captured by Soviet soldiers. By herself, so the English strain dies with her.
In order to stay here, she took a vow of eternal silence. But then, that sudden mutation showed this was not enough. As long as the parasites were inside her, she could not predict what might happen. And that's why she took off, sacrificing herself to make sure the English strain died with her. Maybe she only wants to infect the world. Whatever her plan, we can't let her go free. The vocal cord parasites are the last of Skullface's legacy. It's up to us to erase it. Boss, the targets are Quiet, the English strain she's carrying. Your objective is to extract her. But if worst comes to worst, she may have to be eliminated. Both her and the parasites.
But naturally, Venom goes to her rescue, and after fighting off enemy forces, Quiet loses consciousness, and Venom tries to carry her to safety but gets bit by a cobra while protecting her. So in order to save Venom, Quiet breaks her vow and talks to Pequod to direct him to the location, and leaves Venom never to return again.
I did not choose to be quiet. I wanted to express my feelings to you. If only we shared a common tongue. Snake?
As a showing of Venom Snake consciousness kicking back to remind him of who he was, he hallucinates Spaz in the medical ward, the girl he failed to rescue as a medic in the Ground Zeroes incident. He deniably believes that he figured out the location of the second bomb and was able to save her life. But the ugly truth soon reveals itself, and all of that comes crashing down, waking him up from his guilt-ridden delusions.
I have not woken up at all. It is just a dream. It is all a dream. I am in it, and you are in it too. I am the dreamer, but you are having my dream. Do you get it now? You do, don't you? Peace day never came.
By experiencing all of the suffering Venom had to endure, you don't just see the catastrophic consequences of the actions of Big Boss, but you are directly affected by it through Venom Snake, and in a way that was much more powerful than simply playing as a real Big Boss and experiencing his downfall from his own point of view. With all of these lies and losses, how does it end for Venom Snake? There are two possible endings for Venom. There is an ending that only unlocks when every single player of the game has eliminated all of the nuclear weapons from their in-game bases. Venom Snake seemed to find his own purpose and cause in ridding the world from the possibility of nuclear destruction, achieving true peace. And he realizes the boss's will 30 years before the real Big Boss came to that realization.
I haven't forgotten what you told me, boss. We have no tomorrow, but there's still hope for the future. In our struggle to survive the present, we push the future farther away. Will I see it in my lifetime? Probably not. Which means there's no time to waste. Someday the world will no longer need us. No need for the gun, or the hand to pull the trigger. I have to drive out this demon inside me. Build a better future. That's what we will leave as our legacy. Another mission, right, boss?
But of course, that isn't the canon ending, because just as the world is destined to always have nuclear warheads, Venom Snake was destined for demise ever since he opened his eyes back in that hospital. There is a hidden system in the Phantom Pain called Demon Points. You accumulate these points by doing immoral acts of killing or making nuclear weapons, and if you accumulate enough points by doing these deeds, Venom turns into Demon Snake, permanently covered in blood, and the metal shard in his head grows significantly larger. In the canon ending, we could see that Demon Snake after establishing Outer Heaven, meaning things have only gotten worse for him, ending up not so different from the real big boss in the end. Venom Snake dies in 1995 by the hands of Solid Snake, leaving no legacy behind him other than war and tragedy. An unsung hero, turned into a demon, forever loyal to the flames of war.